Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us again on Break Free from Your Monkey Mind, here with Tony Gordon. This is season 2, episode 6, and today I'm joined by the lovely Lesley Ford. So how are you, Lesley?
I'm fine, thanks, Tony, and thanks very much for the invitation to come on this
You're more
today.
than welcome. So before we start really getting into things, could you just let the listeners know, and viewers actually, because we're on YouTube as well now, who you actually are? Who is Lesley?
Who is Lesley Ford? Well, that's a question. I have many facets. A rough diamond, maybe. Who is Lesley Ford? Lesley Ford is a 59-year-old lady who is a grandmother and a mother. So I'm a mother to 3 children and a grandmother to triplets. And I'm also, what also am I? I'm also a therapist. And what else am I? I am somebody that likes a quick sense of humour and likes to make everybody happy, I think, and contented, and when people come to me, I try and make them have the best day that they can have. I like to see people happy. I think that's the thing. Like most people, I like to give enjoyment to people and make people happy in their day, and so that they can get on with their life.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. I didn't know you had grandchildren triplets, so that's good.
Oh, didn't you? Oh,
no,
yeah,
I didn't know that. What age are they?
They're nearly 8. Yes,
Wow.
They're 8 this month, in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Is that the ones you would go down to visit?
It is, yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's great. Yeah. That's good to know. Okay, so one of the reasons that obviously Lesley's on here today is Lesley said she's a therapist from Phoenix Holistic Health.
It is, yes.
And Lesley's got a backstory. Most people said, I've said something recently, someone saying everybody's got a story, but there's certain stories more than others that can more resonate with people. And I think Lesley's got one of those stories that, from what she's been through and where she's achieved to now, I hope some people can actually, who are listening to this today or are watching this, actually can say at the end of this, that's me, and understand that then there's hope and there's different ways that they can move forward, what Lesley's done. So rather than me just keep going over it, I'll ask Lesley to explain what I mean by that, what her backstory is, and then how have you got to where you are today.
Crikey, how long you got?
As long as you need.
Well, one of my stories, one of my stories is in 2009, I realised my husband was having an affair, and I was laying in bed. So basically, this is a story about me waking up spiritually and also using my other skill set, which at the time was homeopathy. So this is me waking up spiritually. So he was coming to bed very late most nights, about 3 o'clock in the morning, and he was at university then studying, and he said that he had to carry on working, etc., etc. And he came to bed about 3 o'clock one night and got into bed, and I thought, this is a bit weird, but something woke me up. I don't know what it was, but something woke me up and said, go downstairs and check the laptop. And I was like, what is this? Why am I feeling compelled to do this? But I just got up out of bed. There's nothing spooky about it at all. Just went downstairs, opened up his laptop, something I never did. I never checked up on him at all, because that's just our relationship. And I opened up this laptop and I saw a message from a lady that he was having an affair with, and what they were scheming to do. And basically the world fell out of me when I found that out. And then it was like I was jet propelled up the stairs, like something got a hold of the back of my jumper and just lifted me up the stairs to confront him in bed. And he denied it, and then he did actually say that this was true and that I found out too early, which really made me feel great. But as you can imagine, I was shaking like a leaf, thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to survive? and all of those thousands of thoughts that can rush into your head, you know. And the next morning was my daughter's confirmation at church, and I worked in the church as one of their administrator. So it was a big do. The bishop was there, and you know, we were all in our pews and everything, and having to put on a good face, so to say, so that nothing was wrong and that we were the perfect family. Yet I knew in my heart that this was all a lie, you know. And I love singing, and the first hymn, couldn't sing. There was just nothing there, and my husband was looking at me as if to say, come on, just show that we're normal and just start singing. But there was nothing would come out, because I was in shock still. And we went through the service, got to the third hymn, and as we stood up for the third hymn, all of a sudden, through the east window, I felt all of this, all I can describe it as is like golden lights coming down, and it looked like little sort of stars around me. Could have been dust particles, but it felt so calm. There was just this ultimate peace and warmth, and the feeling of, it's okay, we're going to take care of you. Don't worry about anything. It's fine. Everything is going to work out perfect. Don't worry. Everything is gonna be okay. And then all of a sudden, I just started singing, and my husband completely freaked my husband out because I was singing full pelt, and I was laughing because I thought, you know, the divine God has told me. Or I felt it was angelic, actually. I felt it was more angelic. I don't feel like I'm in touch with the big man, but the angels were around me, and he was so unnerved by this. And anyway, so we went through the day, and I just felt so divinely comforted, I think is the word. That, you know, when you have a big shock like that, and as a friend you would go and hug somebody, wouldn't you, and say, oh, come on, it's going to be okay, we're all here for you. That's exactly how it was for me, but with the angelic realm. It just felt like I was just being hugged, you know, completely, and it was so beautiful. And so then we you know, that there was a bit of unpleasantness and everything. And I've started, obviously, self-medicating homeopathy to myself for what I was going through. And, you know, these things, it's all a vibrational energy. So you just have to keep at it. And I just had to keep taking it. And I remember phoning a homeopathic friend at the time and going, well, I'm taking all this homeopathy, and I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. And she was just saying, I'm sure it's working. You're just burning up a lot of energy. And she was absolutely right. And I would have known that if I wasn't the other side, being the patient instead of the homeopath. But what happened was, I remember very distinctly, one afternoon, I was out cutting the grass at the cottage where we lived. And I was cutting the grass and going up and down, mowing the lawn. And then all of a sudden, this thought popped in my head. Well, of course you're going to be okay, because he never did anything anyway. And you're cutting the grass again because you always did cut the grass. So why do you think you're not going to be able to cope on your own? And I just stopped the mower and just started laughing, because actually that was the homeopathic moment that I knew that the homeopathy had kicked in, and that the shock had gone, and that I was going to be okay. And then, you know, there was another friend called me and said about how her husband had turned out to be a narcissist. And I thought, what is narcissism then? So I just kind of looked it up, and then I was shocked again to find out that I had been possibly a victim of narcissism within my marriage, and how easy it is to conform, where you are a person where you are like a giver, and all you want is like the homeostasis, if you like, of having a family unit where everything is smoothly running and you don't want to upset the apple cart. But then for people that turn out to be narcissists, that's the perfect scenario. It's the perfect growth. You know, if you're thinking of a scientific lab and perfect cultures, that's the perfect culture for making you believe that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy enough, that you can only have a little part-time job, and that your place is well and truly where they say it's going to be. And you just give them permission to allow them to do that to you. And so when he'd gone and I realized all this power that I'd given away, I got angry. I got angry because I couldn't understand how easily I had been manipulated. Because it is a manipulation at the end of the day. It's but you have to be in that vulnerable place to start with, so that, because if you're not in that vulnerable place, you just bounce back and you go, what are you talking about? That's a load of rubbish. I am whatever, XYZ. I am, or I am more than capable of doing that. So why are you thinking that I can't do that? But because they wear you down gradually, and then obviously when they, if they do leave, then you think, how am I gonna cope? Luckily for me, I felt it was a lucky escape, really, because it opened up a whole new world for me, in learning new things. I went off to university. I was already at university, actually. I was my first year. But so many people rallied around me, whereas I was the one that was giving all the time, because I was an older student in my peer group. My peer group, when they found out what happened, they were the ones that came to me and enveloped me and helped me through that difficult time. And that's so comforting as well, to know that people are out there that will help you when you are at one of your lowest places in your life. And these were young people that were, say, 19 years old. But because I'd naturally mothered them, they felt it was time to give back to me, which was beautiful. Another thing that happened to me at that particular time was that this husband had come back to the cottage when I'd taken my youngest daughter to a piano lesson, and basically came into the cottage without my consent and took things from the cottage, which I didn't know until I went looking for them a few months later. And when my vicar found out, who was my boss at the time, he rallied round and got money together to get a locksmith in to change the locks, which was I feel is like a law of attraction thing, because it was like, how am I going to? I knew I needed to get the locks changed, but it was like, how am I going to get this money? I need the locks changed, because I was a student and I was doing about 3 jobs at the time as well. And so how am I going to get the locks changed? And then the vicar just came in and said, I've got some money for you. And I went, for what? And he said, we've got some money for you to change your locks. And I was like, gobsmacked. And so I had the £100 that I needed to get the locks changed, to stop it ever happening. And that was a law of attraction thing that came in, because I just completely opened up and just said, I don't know how I'm going to get this money. How am I going to get this money? And then all of a sudden it was just delivered to me.
That's great. I mean, thank you for that. It's very personal, very powerful. I know it's not easy to say all these things, especially to other people.
Is now.
Yeah, it's because it's out there. That's a good thing. Sometimes it's therapeutic, isn't it, when it's out? But there's 2 or 3 things like pick on it, if you don't mind, that you mentioned. One thing for people who are out there is the narcissist, you called him, and you said you had to look it up to find out about it. What was it about him that made him a narcissist?
He would undermine my abilities, and a lot of the things would be, oh, I've told you that already. I told you that last week, and I'm thinking, no, you didn't. Yeah, I did. I told you I was going out last week. No, you didn't. And it kind of gets you second doubting yourself. So they'll come out with comments that get you. It could be anything, you know. Like I told you last week, we're out of sugar. Why didn't you get sugar when you got the shopping? And I was like, well, you didn't tell me we were out of sugar. Yes, I did. No, you didn't. Why isn't it on the shopping list then? Because I told you. No, you didn't. So it kind of gets you second guessing yourself all the time, thinking, oh, you've just made me feel really however you want to feel, you know, unworthy of being a wife, unworthy of being to take care of the home, unworthy mother because I'm not supplying something for my children, you know, whatever it is. But they just seem to know what points to push on, to which you value in your life. So we all value being of value to someone, don't we? So whether it's a parent or whether it's an aunt or uncle or a supportive friend or whatever, but if someone undermines that and gets you second doubting yourself, like, well, you can't be a very good friend because you didn't call her when something was going on, you know, and then you start thinking, oh, maybe I'm not a good friend then. Maybe there is something wrong with me. Maybe I need to work harder at that. And so it's all these little second guesses that get you thinking about, oh, right, I don't feel strong enough to say, no, you're talking a load of nonsense, because they plant the seed, they've already planted the seed that your memory's going. Or whatever, your memory's going. I did tell you last week, you must be forgetting things, you know. So it's those kind of things.
And it's be able to look back on it. People obviously, hindsight's a great thing. So looking back, you've now described all them. But when you were in the relationship, before whatever that was you said, it suddenly made you get up and look at that. Can you see the signs then? Did you notice there was anything going on, or in sort of the way that he was treating you? Did it click to you there that there was something seriously wrong?
No, not really. He was very clever. The ironic, if you can call it ironic, the ironic part of all of this was that I used to go to coffee with the lady that he had an affair with. So there was like a double whammy for him out of this, you know. Or both of them maybe, I don't know, but so I used to go to coffee at university with his friend, who ended up being more than a friend, and so that wasn't very, very pleasant, really. But they know what they're doing, you know. They're playing a game with you. It's a bit like cat and mouse, I think. They're playing a game, you know. When cats are going in for the kill with mice, they play with them, don't they? They play with them until, and you know, that is quite a good analogy for what I experienced, but it wouldn't be everybody's experience. So everybody experiences things differently with narcissism, but it's until you come to the realization of what actually is going on, or you have supportive friends that say, no, there's nothing wrong with your memory. You are absolutely straight and truthful and very knowledgeable. There's nothing wrong with you at all. That you can only draw that strength and from that reassurance from somebody to think that I'm not losing it there. I'm not this person that they say that I am. And so you've got that kind of what's the word? Antagonism. But I suppose it is a bit of antagonism in a way, because you're like, no, I don't believe that. But because they've said it, you kind of half believe it. So it's still kind of going in, and it's a second doubting yourself all the time. You know, there's half of you trying to think, I'm not this person that they're saying that I am. And there's half of you that's thinking, well, there you go. You've just had proof that you are that person.
You mentioned something else that was really good, is when the vicar of your local church, the one you worked at, realised, for whatever reason then, that he realised that something was going on that you needed help with. He rallied around with people in the church then to get the money to pay for the locks.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that was because of law of attraction. So for anybody that doesn't know what law of attraction is, could you explain that to them?
Whoa.
Good question.
Well, the law of attraction is a universal law, and there's lots of these laws, but one of them is the law of attraction. So basically, what we think about things that we want to happen, we can actually make happen with our thoughts and our beliefs, or we can make them not happen with our thoughts and beliefs. So I was not so understanding of the law of attraction at that moment in my life, but the law of attraction was working for me at that specific time in my life when I really needed these things. And it's just about really when things get so low and you need universal help, because everything is energy. You know, everything, all the world around us is energy. You know, the table that I'm sitting at today is energy, you know, and we are all energy. We are just energetic souls just living in a body. So we are all energy. We have a soul, and, you know, it's all about energy. And I was obviously thinking at the time about the keys to the lock, because I was incensed that he's obviously come into my home and taken these things, and without my permission. And so I was just thinking, how am I going to get this money? And I think because I was so open-hearted with it at the time, and just asking God, really saying, please, can you help me? I don't know what to do. Can you please help me? And just sending that prayer up, if you like, just to say, I need some help and I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to find this £100, because I was living from hand to mouth. He wasn't paying me any money, and I was at university. So I had 3 other part-time jobs to keep everything going in. So it was just, and then it just came, you know. So I was as shocked about it, but so grateful for it as well at the same time. And the law of attraction is where you can actually ask for things. Now, a lot of people have watched the program The Secret, or read the book The Secret, which is it's like an opener to understanding about how the law of attraction works, and what you can do. And when you've read that book, you think, crikey, all I've got to do is rub the genie on the lamp kind of thing, and I'll get my wish. Every wish that I want will come true. It's not quite like that. But you do sometimes think, you know, that when you finish reading the book. So it's a specific science. So the law of attraction is a science. It's a universal law, and it's a science. So it takes a bit more going into, really, than we've got time on here.
No, that's okay. And that's only one part then of what you do. So you've got the law of attraction. You've mentioned already homeopathy was another aspect of what you do.
Yes.
Somebody doesn't really understand that. What's homeopathy?
Homeopathy is a system of medicine that works on vibrational energy, actually, the same as law of attraction. And it works on the essence that like can cure like. So what makes you ill can actually make you better, but in a different form, a different energy, or different frequency. And the skill of a homeopath is to take a case, so what you're presenting with, and you do a top to toe analysis of what's going on in your body. And so because you're an individual, how you suffer something might be how somebody else doesn't suffer something. So say if you get a cold, you might have a runny nose and maybe a sore throat. Another person with the same cold, the same virus, might have runny eyes and itchy ears. So it's the same cold, but it's a different remedy that you need. And that's the skill of the homeopath. And it takes 4 years to become a homeopath. I'm a postgraduate homeopath, so I've had another 2 years training. And I've been a homeopath since 2005. So I've been a homeopath for quite a long time. And you can treat more or less anything really with homeopathy. It's just a different form of medicine. So it's an alternative form of medicine. It can be complementary to the other side of medicine, absolutely. When you're going through certain things like childbirth or chemo or things like that, there's certain remedies that you can have to support the client, patient, to help them suffer less after side effects. But yeah, it's a beautiful system of medicine, and I wouldn't use anything else. Yeah, I love it.
You said that it's complementary at times on it, but can it actually replace westernized medicalization? So if instead of having certain pills, can you use the homeopathy as more natural remedies rather than that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's thousands and thousands of remedies, and they're always bringing new remedies on. The doctor that I trained my postgraduate with has a hospital out in Calcutta, Dr. Banerjee. He has his own hospital for helping people that can't afford treatment in India. So as a charity. So in India, it's a huge culture in India that, you know, they use homeopathy, I think, before conventional medicine, because that's just their way of life. Over here, I think it's about 6 million people use homeopathy. It's still got a big following, and the royal family use it as well. I think the Queen's got her own physician. Yeah, so, you know, the Queen Mother was a big advocate of homeopathy, and she lived to over 100, wasn't she, when she passed away? So yeah, I mean, you know, lots of people use homeopathy, and I think once you've had what they call the arnica experience, where you take arnica for shock or a trauma, or arnica is the first port of call for any shock, and that can be a physical shock or emotional shock. So when I had this huge shock about my husband, taking arnica would have helped the initial shock, because it's an emotional shock to the body, not a physical shock. So arnica is the top tip there.
So we've got a lot of traction in homeopathy, but you also mentioned you're a therapist. So is that to include both in it, or is it something else that you actually do as well? I'm
also a coach, life coach. So I practice neuro-linguistic pathways, so it's NLP. I practice that, and I'm also an emotional freedom technique master practitioner. So and that's called tapping. So I use tapping quite a bit in the clinic when clients come in, especially new clients that might be suffering from panic or anxiety. It's a marvelous modality to use to calm any situation down. And the great thing is, once you know it, you've always got it with you, because you only need 2 hands, or one hand even, and you can just tap on your meridian points to release the energy and the emotion that's going on for you at that time. So it's a beautiful modality.
Because anybody that does want to know about EFT as well, we actually had episode 4 of season 1. Heather Clark, we know, was actually on
Heather,
EFT.
Yes,
she did a session on that, so you can find some more information about that as well. So that's law of attraction, homeopathy, you've got the NLP side and your coaching side. So it's quite a bit you've come through. So I take it, because just to link it all together at the end, that the reason you call Phoenix holistic is because Phoenix rising from all the adversity you've been through.
That's right. Yeah.
So actually, it's quite an apt thing, actually. So I think that's what we'll call the episode, Phoenix rising from adversity. So it is great, but
the rising of the ashes.
But it was a very emotional thing you've said. It's very powerful as well, what people go through. And I think for me, the big thing is that they're not realising until afterwards, in the hindsight, you can look back. But if someone is going through that now, or if there's one thing you could say about what you've talked about today, what one piece of advice or that could you give, or what's the most important part?
Trust your heart. Your heart never lies.
Right. Because I think that's the hardest bit for people, as you said, is these people who are good, the narcissists, don't ever think they're doing anything wrong. They believe that everything that they do is always right and everybody else is wrong. Now, for someone who's gone through that, might not actually realise themselves, as you say, a lot of time, the person makes them believe that they're always making mistakes. So it's trust their own heart, trust their own judgment. If you don't honestly believe you're not, then you need to have to consider what the situation is you're in. Why is that happening? Is there help out there for people like that now that can go to if they are struggling in a situation?
I don't know about the charities. I know, I mean, obviously my door's always open, you know, I'm always here to help anybody. But I mean, it's about, sometimes we're all on a journey, and it's finding what clicks for you, because there's so many different paths that go to the same destination. And the destination is always about your greater self and becoming harmonious with your greater self, and just bringing yourself back into oneness and alignment. And however you want to do that, so you know, there's loads of things you can do to help yourself. You can go on YouTube. You can have meditations, even if it brings it down and it makes you get to a place of calmness. You can look into educating yourself a bit more, finding out about maybe courses that you might want to do, or take yourself off to a class if you're allowed to go, of course. But it's all about empowering yourself to you know, even if it's only small little bits to start with, even if it's like a pocket-sized book that you get that you can read, with little quotes in that keep you going. And you know in your heart how it really is. And because your heart never lies. And you just need to keep feeding that heart. And if you start meditation, you can learn to tap into what they call your higher self, or your gut feeling, or whatever it is for you, or your intuition. You can tap into that, and then you will kind of know. You always know when something feels right or wrong, don't you? Because we have this gut reaction. So, and that's our intuition talking. That no, this doesn't feel safe, or no, I feel uncomfortable around this person, and so you kind of back off a bit, and you don't want to be too much in their area. So it's just about learning to trust yourself first, I think, and also to love yourself, because a lot of us don't love ourselves, and we need to love ourselves first, and give and forgive ourselves.
Yeah, compassion is something that humans were not they were good at doing it to other people, but not always doing it to themselves. So yeah, that's a good thing to end on, really. As if anybody is that and in that situation, remember, be compassionate to yourself, because it's not your fault.
No.
So always be compassionate that way to you, that you've not put yourself in that position, someone else has.
And it's all about your learning.
So thank you very much for that. I appreciate it, Lesley. And especially said, opening up everything you've said has been great, but also some great advice. So if your door's always open, where is it people can get a hold of you? So how did they get in touch with Lesley?
Oh,
yeah,
I have a website called phoenix-hh.co.uk, because it's a bit of a long holistic health otherwise, so I did it's a hyphen. So it's phoenix-hh.co.uk, and the Facebook group is Phoenix Mindset Lounge. And my page is Phoenix Holistic Health UK on Facebook.
Well, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And thank you, everybody, for joining again as well. I appreciate all the support and for all the comments the last couple of weeks. Enjoyed reading them, and we are getting a few more guests on as well for some of the things like this that people have been asking for. So we'll see that over the next couple of weeks. So join me next week for season 2, episode 7 next week. Again, which hoping it's somebody else. It depends if we can actually get time. If someone else with a similar background story, but a slightly different way of doing it, and they've got a different way of how they move forward as well. So look forward to that. And if anybody's got any queries in between, just get me at Tony Gordon at changingyourmindlimited.com. The limited is LTD, so it's Tony Gordon at changingyourmindlimited.com with any suggestions for what things you'd like to see going forward. So thank you very much for that. And thank you again, Lesley, for today.
Oh, thank you, Tony.
Right.